All right, so I have Mason here, and he has been in partial training for a month, so this is about his 10th ride, I believe. He's pretty green, pretty good-minded though. He seems to like to work. He is a pretty high-headed horse. He's pretty relaxed right now, so you don't see that, but a lot of times when he is left to his own devices, he likes to go up with his head like a giraffe. So I have him in a smooth French link snaffle to put more pressure on his tongue to just encourage that chin to come in. And I also have the martingale on him just for a little added leverage to encourage it to come down and stay soft. So also with this stiffness and that high-headedness that he has, he's kind of like a board. So I kind of will categorize all of my training maneuvers and corrections as either vertical or lateral. So his big problem is vertical. He's too vertical. You always fix a vertical problem with a lateral solution, or if you have a wiggly horse, a horse with a lateral problem, you fix it with a vertical solution. So these past several rides on him have all been bending and lateral work and teaching him to stay soft. So as he gets soft laterally, you can see I'm bringing his head around to the outside, it's going to get him to relax his neck and then go down with a more relaxed top line, which is going to allow him to collect up more. Now, 10 rides isn't a whole lot, so you'll still see some resistance in him when I pick up on my reins. Now I want him to be able to flex vertically as well, which you can see at the walk he'll do. I'll kind of close my legs to drive him forward and pick up my reins, and he brings his chin in. So that's good. But occasionally you'll see him kind of open his mouth or kind of grab hold of the bit. And whenever he does that, I'm especially going to go to a lateral solution, push his shoulders over, bring his head around, something like that to soften him back up so he learns he can't grab hold of the bit. I'm not going to yank on his face or pop him because that's going to make him afraid, and I don't want him to be afraid of the bit. I want him to be accepting of it and comfortable. Whoa. Whoa. So you can see he leaked out of his stop there, and then he kind of grabbed hold of the bit. So I just brought him back with his head off to the side a little bit. Whoa. So lift. There. As soon as he brings those shoulders up and softens up, he gets his release. So an exercise that I really like on horses like this is, I don't really have a name for it, but inside-outside flexion. So we've done this at the walk and at the jog, and my goal with this next month is to be able to do it at the lope. His lope, he's still trying to find his balance and stay centered underneath me, so I'm not going to push him with this quite yet. But when I'm jogging around in a circle, I've got kind of a medium-sized circle here. I want him to stay consistent underneath me, so once I feel him kind of locked in, I'm going to try and keep him here. I'm going to bring his head to the inside. So we've got inside flexion. I can see his left eye, but his feet are still on the same track. Then I can give him a release, let him go straight. And depending on what kind of response I get, I can repeat this several times. There, he's starting to speed up on me. I'm gonna bring him back. Hey, keep my body slow. Inside, release. Hey. And then I'll do outside flexion. And for most horses, this one is harder. So I've got to use more outside leg to keep him on the circle, and I might help him with my inside rein a little bit. But for the most part, I'm using my outside rein, getting him to counter bend. Now I'm not leaning and I'm not crossing over like this. That's going to throw him off balance. So I'm just going to shorten up that rein. Hey. He still wants to follow his nose. Hey. So when I get there, that was a pretty good response. I'll give him a little release. So the amount that I asked for is going to be dependent on the level of the horse's training and their responsiveness and such. So I'm not going to expect him to do a full circle around with his head to the outside. First, I've got to train the first couple steps. And once he learns that that's right, then I can start asking for more. Whoa. Whoa. And bring him back. He wants to go crooked, so I'm just closing that left side. There. Good. All right, and then at the long trot and the lope, I've mostly just been doing figure eights and lots of just big circles, just to teach him to stay centered between my hands and my legs. And then once he gets balanced there, which I'd say he is probably 80% of the time maybe. But once I get to more of 100, then I'll start pushing him with that inside and outside flexion. Now on my long trot and my lope, if I feel him start to get tense over his neck or his top line, I'm going to bump the corners of his mouth, but I'm going to do it with kind of wide hands to encourage him to drop his neck down and stay relaxed. And as he gets softer and his neck stays where I want it to, I'm going to bring my hands closer and closer together until he's show ready, because I want to be able to ride with my hands right by his withers without having to have a whole lot of correction. All right, I'll ask him to lope. You could see him drop his shoulder a little bit there. And there he's leaking to the outside of the circle. Good boy. Good boy. And we'll switch directions. I want to make sure I can see the inside of my bridle. Make sure he's not counterbent, unless I'm asking for it, which I'm not. He tends to get really short-strided and kind of quick in his legs. So I'm trying to encourage that slower stride just by kind of really letting my butt stick down in the post. And keep my post slow so we just get that really nice, flowy stride where he's not trying to get chargy. And I'm doing a lot of just little pushes with my inside leg to keep kind of pushing him out. Trot, trot. Good. I was pretty pleased with that canter because he stayed pretty soft and slow-legged and relaxed through the whole thing. Whoa. You can see his mouth open a little bit. I'm going to wait for him to soften. Fix it with the lateral solution because that was a vertical problem. Good. Good. So, yeah, this next month we'll just be working on adding the inside-outside flexion at the lope. Get a few more rides on him. So, it's coming along.